I posted my initial review of Hornby's latest version of the Class 395 last April, and having had the model for 12 months now, along with the added coach pack, I want to revisit that review and also provide my thoughts on how Hornby could move this model to another level. Hi, thanks for joining today's review. So we're going to kick off with a brief unboxing of the 4-car set and also of the 2-car coach pack. We'll then do a close-up view of both of those, followed by a running session which will cover both the 4-car configuration and the 6-car configuration. So just to get a look at both of those. We'll then do a summary of the two packs and then do a scoring and some recommendations at the very end. Okay, let's get underway. Okay, in the original review, I went through the main out-of-box configuration, looking at the documentation that was provided and how you actually open the model. I did install DCC into the model in both the power car and the dummy car because it does have a lighting function. I did want to use that, and I did want to run it under DCC. In terms of looking at the actual model itself, I think the packaging was very good, and there's a nice outer sleeve and then an inner sleeve to protect each of the power cars and the main the coaches. And I think that's a pretty good quality. So this is not railroad quality, this is a level above that. I think the actual appearance, I was pleased with the appearance of these models. I think they've got a nice level of detail on them overall, and some nice labelling, an overall good finish, some nice roof detail, and really the only thing that let them down was that plastic pantograph that you'll see there. That was really the thing that got me. There is some kind of detail of the kind of electrical fittings, etc., and they're fine in the kind of plastic, red plastic. But it was the grey plastic pantograph which really lets the model down. It is really pathetic, and if I look at something like the Eurostar model from Hornby that has a nice metal pantograph on it, that's a lower cost point than this. So I think this is really a disappointing, of all the visual parts of this particular 4-car set. This was the weakest part, in my opinion. So that was that piece of it. I think I went through an overall view of all 4 cars, so you can check out the full review. I'll put the link in the description. I'm not going to go through that again here. And to say overall, I was pretty pleased with the actual visuals here, and these are nice looking cars, and it's overall a nice looking set, and probably one of the best looking of the Javelin sets I've certainly seen from Hornby. And a good quality packaging as well. The 2-car coach pack, that's optional, but I do recommend it if you've got a larger layout. It's definitely worth adding to get to the prototypical train size of 6 cars. Again, it comes in really identical type of packaging. These are the same level of quality as the 2 middle coaches you get in the original train pack. So they do fit in well. They've got unique running numbers, so that you've got a full accurate train now. So I really thought this was a nice add-on coach pack set, and you can pick this up for as low as around £60. So £30 for each of these coaches. I think that's pretty good value in this day and age, and you can get a prototypical train for just under £200. So well worth adding on. And as I said, come with really identical packaging, identical quality, etc. to the coaches in the original pack. So now taking a close-up look along the body, and we did this in the original review. I'm just going to go through it a little bit quicker here, but for people who didn't see the other review and want to get a quick summary, you can see the good level of detail there, good registration of all the lettering and the labelling, etc. that's there, the tinted windows, nice little paint detail of the yellow pieces at the bottom there, the detail around the doors, and in terms of the entrance controls, and as I mentioned before, the pantograph on the roof there. You probably don't really get a good look of it in this particular view. That's really what lets everything down here. So overall, quite a nice level of detail for what is essentially a budget pack. Similarly now for one of the centre coaches, which we're going to look at here, and the only difference really between the two centre coaches, one has pickup, one has the extra pickup on one of the bogies, and the other one doesn't, and that's the same in the coach pack as well. Again, same level of detail on the roof, etc. There's no pantographs here, and I say nice looking coaches, and they look well, and the overall train I think looks well. We're going to do a kind of 360 view here, and in here I'll kind of make two things, or a few things I didn't point out earlier. The corridor connectors at the back there's a very nice rubber surround on those, and so I think that works quite well, and that's also on the coaches. You can see the kind of plasticky pantograph there from that view, but again I think you can see at the end, nice detail on the end there. And also on the front, there's some nice the separate wipers on the front, and here now again we've got the centre coaches, and again you've got the nice corridor detail, which I think is good. Some nice separately fitted parts on the roof there, which align with what you have on the park cars. These are actually the two coaches from the optional coach pack. So overall, very very pleased with these, and these are good value, as I said. So now getting into the running session. So I'm going to do a quick running session with the 4-car set, and then we'll do one with the 6-car set, and kind of make up your own mind, I suppose, in terms of your preferences. I think the 4-car set is very convenient. It's a very nice package, and for a smaller layout, I think it's probably fine. And I think I would stay with it. I think it works well. It does run well under DC. Not so good under DCC, which I'll talk about later on, but I think it's hard to fault it. It's got lighting, which you don't get on, for example, the Eurostar set. It's got it on both ends. You've got directional lighting as well as a headlight, and it does run well, and I really can't fault it. I didn't have any problems in my running session, apart from a linearity issue with DCC, where it's hard to get the increase in the speed of the actual unit, get that proportional to the actual setting on your controller. Now I'm running it with 6 cars here, and I think this does actually look better. I think it is prototypical. These typically run in 6-car configurations, and larger configurations tend to be made up of putting 2 6-car configurations back to back. So you've essentially got a prototypical train now when you add on the 2-car pack, and absolutely no running problems with the 6-car set. If anything, and maybe this is because the motor's probably running over time, when I did this particular running session here, I didn't get the same level of motor noise, I think, as I got when I did the original review running session with the 4-car set. And I guess that this motor has run in over time as well, so no problems on the 6-car run, and I think it does look better. It does look more realistic if you've seen these in real life, and I think it's well worth having. Okay, now we're going to take a look at a summary. So we've been looking at the R3813 Class 395 train pack. We've also been looking at the R4999, the 2-car coach pack, which is an optional add-on. Name of this is the Hornby Visitor Centre. It's in the South Eastern Livery, distinctive blue livery. And the train pack comes as a 4-car configuration, and as I say, you can add to that with the 2-car coach pack. The motor is a 5-pole skew-round motor, and I think overall that gives pretty good performance. It is 8-pin DCC ready in both the drive and dummy cars, which is good because it allows you to control the lighting in the dummy car. And it does say have directional lighting and headlights. The unboxed weight of the driving car is a light 253 grams, and the dummy car comes in at 162 grams, which is roughly the same equivalent weight of a coach. The retail selling price for the train pack varies between $145 and $159.99, which is the RRP. And the coach pack, probably a greater variety of prices here, but I think typically you should be looking to pick it up for between £60 to £65, and it is readily available at that. The RRP is a little bit expensive. I think of late it is getting more challenging to get the actual train pack. The coach pack does seem to be still available, but the train pack is getting a little bit difficult to find these days. So in terms of the train pack scoring, I've updated the scoring here. I didn't have a category of build quality and packaging in the original assessment. The running performance, I'm still giving it a 3.5 star. It still has that issue from a DCC perspective, getting to a decent speed curve. You don't really have that under a DC, so you get a kind of much more linear control of the speed under DC. It's a better experience. So at the end of the day, it's still very usable and it does run well. So there was no derailment, no problems with this from that perspective, and up at the very maximum speed, it's still very solid, and so the running performance overall is good, but just has that bit of an issue with DCC. Appearance and detail is a 4 star, and I think the main letdown here is the pantograph. It would probably be 4.5 star if that was a pretty decent pantograph. I think this is a relatively budget offering. It's not a super detailed model. But it is a good level of detail and a good level of quality, so I think 4 stars is a good score, and it's just a pity about the pantograph. Extras and variants, there really isn't a lot, in fairness. We do have the lighting features, but really there isn't an awful lot extra here. Build quality and packaging I'm giving as a 4 star, and I think overall it's pretty good. Again, the pantograph looks to have a poor quality to it. It's a soft plastic, and it looks like it could break pretty easily as well. And that's, again, probably feeding into this score. But overall, the packaging is good. It's good, solid packaging, and recyclable as well, which is great. And the overall build quality, I think, is pretty good. And I haven't really had any issues with this. Slightly noisy motor could be a complaint, but overall, no real complaints from a quality perspective. Price value, I'm saying it's a 5 star, because I think it is for a good-looking 4-car train. I think it's good value. I think it's very good value, and I think the add-on 2-car pack is very good as well. So overall, a 4 star. It is let down a little bit by a couple of things in terms of the DCC and the pantograph, but overall, it's one of the better Javelin renditions, if not the best, I think, so far from Hornby. It is good value, and I would recommend it. And I'm sticking with it. I'm happy with the train now that I've expanded to a 6-car set. I'm pretty pleased with it. It's not perfect, but at the price point you're paying for here, I think it is good value, and I still would recommend it. Now, the added coach pack, I've done a scoring on this. The performance here is a little bit higher because there isn't the motorised aspect to it. Appearance and details obviously is the same, but build quality is the same. Price value and overall 4.5 stars. So I think it's well worth it. I think if you've got a medium to larger layout, I think this is probably a must-own to get yourself a prototypical train. I think this is a nice train. It's nice to have the 6-car train, and if you're familiar with them in real life, you will want to have this on your layout as well. I think it's kind of a no-brainer for anybody with a medium to larger layout to go for this pack. So just some recommendations to Hornby and things I think they could improve on. I think the power car is really light, and it has these horrible traction tires, which I really don't like, because they do ultimately lead to problems with your track, dirty track, and they can make that a little bit worse for you. So I think improving the motor performance and improving that DCC performance of the motor would be good, and getting rid of those traction tires, as I said, with a heavier power car. And swapping out the plastic pantographs for metal pantographs, I think would really help the look of these models. It's just such a shame. It's the one thing when you actually look at a real-life photograph of this train, I should say, and you look at these models, the pantograph is the thing that kind of stands out as looking pretty awful. So really, if they could fix that, that would be great. I've put down some nice-to-haves here. It's always nice to have TTS as an option. Dual bogie drive would be really good and really improve the overall running performance. I think that would add a lot to the cost, unfortunately, so I think you're probably pushing the cost point of this model probably where you don't want it to go. A fitted driver is nice. I don't think that can cost too much. And just an interesting one would be if you did have a dummy train pack version of this to simulate the dual train configuration. So again, for people with larger layouts who may want to have a 12-car configuration, or maybe even a 10-car configuration, it might be nice to have that, but these are really more nice to haves. So in summary, I do like this version of the Javelin from Hornby. I have enjoyed running it on the layout. I will be sticking with it. I think the appearance is let down by those pantographs, as I mentioned. So I think once there's a version that has those replaced, I would certainly be looking at that version. The running performance, I think, is usable under DCC. It's absolutely fine under DC. There's no issues at all. It is usable under DCC, and as I said, I am a DCC user pretty well all the time. And I think, considering everything, I think this is a good version of this class of locomotive, and it's great to have it on the layout, and having the added coach pack gets you to the 6-car prototypical rake, which I think is good. So I think if you are a contemporary modeler, you do like your high-speed trains, I think this is fine. It is not a super detailed model, but I think its appearance is more than passable, with the exception of the pantograph. And overall, I'm very pleased with it from a performance perspective, and as I say, from a value perspective, it's pretty hard to beat. Okay, so that's really my 12-month assessment. I will be sticking with this. I do hope Hornby do improve that pantograph in the future, and I would look to upgrade if there was an acceptable upgrade in the future to get that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the next one, and in the meantime, happy modeling.